Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and I'm pretty excited about this video today, and that's because I get to share my experiences of the King Tiger. This is a tier 7 American premium heavy tank that is going to be given to everybody who have linked up their Twitch Prime accounts to their Wargaming account. Effectively, the King Tiger takes the armor of the Tiger II from tier 8 and moves it down to tier 7. And it combines this with a rather unique style, and you can see the Zimmerit coating that was applied to the hull of this to be able to avoid magnetic mines, with the American star designations all around the vehicle clearly showing that this one has been captured, and little extras like danger mined on the barrel of the gun here, and also on the side down some of the spaced armor, clearly showing the Zimmerit off. But before everybody gets too alarmed thinking, well, surely if you've got tier 8 armor at tier 7, the vehicle's going to be crazy overpowered, right? Let's see how this vehicle stacks up compared to the Tiger at tier 7 and the Tiger II at tier 8. So the King Tiger has the same 88mm that the Tiger has at tier 7, and this is 240 alpha damage combined with an impressive standard penetration of 203mm, but immediately you notice that the reload time of the King Tiger is substantially longer than that of the Tiger. And in fact, this vehicle has 1,767 base damage per minute compared to the Tiger's 2,242. And trust me, when you're playing this vehicle, this really shows this is not like the standard Tiger, which is a big box of hit points, poor armor, but a great rate of fire and reliable gun that makes up for it. This thing is less accurate than the Tiger at 0.35 compared to 0.33, but thankfully, like the Tiger II, this vehicle has 8 degrees of gun depression, which should give you a little bit of an advantage over a ridgeline compared to the Tiger's 7 degrees. Alright, so now let's move on to survivability, and you think that having the Tiger II hull at tier 7 would be a huge advantage. And while, yes, it is clearly with regards to the armor, because this thing has exactly the same armor as the Tiger II, it does have one problem, and that is that its hit points are 1,300 compared to the Tiger's 1,500. But when we compare this to something like the T-29, for example, it still has 50 more hit points than the American tier 7 heavy tank. Now, having this Tiger II armor at tier 7 is way better than having it at tier 8, because obviously now you can meet tier 5 opponents. Let's imagine that you're getting shot by a tier 6 tank destroyer, the Soviet Su-100 with the 122mm gun. Let's imagine you're in the standard Tiger. Yeah, it's pretty much got a 100% chance to go through anywhere on the front of the hull apart from this mid plate here, which is well angled. When it hits the turret ring, it's going through, and when it hits most of the turret, it's probably about a 60 to up to a 70%, and even some areas a 100% chance to be able to go through. However, the King Tiger, on the other hand, the whole of your upper plate will be able to absorb that shell the vast majority of the times from the Soviet 122mm caliber gun. The front of your mantlet is going to absorb the shell pretty much about a third of the time. Your cheeks are going to auto-ricochet, and your lower plate, you still got a 68% chance, roughly, to be able to bounce that Su-100 shell. But of course, who's going to sit their Tiger II completely front on without angling it, right? And now you can begin to see just how effective this vehicle can be, even more so if you're using some of the gun depression that the vehicle has. So now moving on to mobility, and the King Tiger is pretty much identical to the Tiger II here, with a 700 horsepower engine weighing roughly 70 tons. That gives it a 10 horsepower to ton ratio, which, while it's slightly worse than the Tiger, for such a heavy tank at tier 7, it doesn't really feel all that sluggish. But if you're expecting something ludicrously mobile, yeah, this isn't going to be the tank for you. Finally, you'll be happy to know that the King Tiger has 380 meters view range, a lot like the standard Tiger, and so if you combine that with an excellent crew, and as this is a premium vehicle, it's quite likely you've got a very good American heavy tank crew, that will enable you to get great view range with coated optics. But if you don't have a good crew, and maybe you've got a completely fresh crew, just whack on some binoculars and you're still going to be seeing your opponents at very decent distances. But I hear you. Enough with the stats. Show me some gameplay. Alright, let's see to it. So here we go, we're rolling out in the King Tiger Onster Junkie, and we're in the worst possible matchup for this vehicle. That's right, we're having to deal with tier 9 tanks and 2 self-propelled guns on the enemy team. But when I think about it, remember, this is kind of a tier 8 hull at tier 7. So effectively, if I was in a standard Tiger II in this kind of a matchup, it wouldn't be all that bad, having kind of 6, 7, 8 tier 7s to handle on the enemy vehicle, and then a bunch of what would be equal tier tanks in the form of the tier 8s, and then those tier 9s, well, they're only one tier above the hull of this vehicle. How bad can it be, right? You've still got a chance to be able to bounce an E75 or a T10, and you've got a really good chance to be able to bounce tier 7 tanks, and that's what makes this vehicle so powerful. It's not the mobility, it's definitely not the gun. With its mediocre aim time, it's worse accuracy than the standard Tiger, and it's way worse rate of fire. But it's the fact that you have that dependable hull, and it allows you to just be a much better sniper, at least in the majority of your games. But we'll see how we're going to be able to have to stack up here against these higher tiered vehicles and equal tiered tanks. Well, why don't we start by putting one into the back of that Type 62. Looks like we tracked him, or we took out his engine. That's going to allow us to put a nice casual shot into the top of the tank. Now, while this vehicle doesn't have the 105mm punch that the Tiger II has, having an 88mm at tier 7 is by no means a bad gun. Sure, some vehicles are going to be able to outtrade you with regards to their alpha damage, but yeah, even with the best rate of fire as you have on the King Tiger, at least compared to the standard Tiger, it's not all that bad. And you're going to be able to probably trade blows quite well with something like a T29, as long as you do shoot them twice for every time that they shoot you once. But again, with the rather poor rate of fire that this vehicle has, it can start to be a tricky thing to be able to do that. Alright, so the T-34-100 dies in the dip. What I'm going to do is just engage against this equal tier German heavy tank. It's so weird playing in an American tank, a German cosplay American tank with American stars down the side, but an American crew. I'm using my crew from the T-57 here, combined with, I guess, one of my crew members from the T-29, as you will need a radio operator in this vehicle. So we lock down the tracks of the Tiger. We're going to lock down his tracks some more on our way forwards. Pesky mutant manages to put a premium round through the side of our vehicle and ammo racks us. And we put another round through the front of the Tiger there. He turns his attention towards a different vehicle, and I'm able to just butt to the front of his tank. Now, he'd be able to go through my lower plate fairly consistently with 200mm of penetration, and even able to go through my upper plate maybe about a third of the time. Oh no, that mutant puts another one into the side of our tank there. Really worried about getting caught out in the open here against the self-propelled guns. So you'll see that I'm using this building, because I think the self-propelled guns will be roughly here, maybe here, maybe here. So I was trying to use that building to avoid detection. Well, not avoid detection, because I was detected, but to be able to avoid that artillery splash. Alright, so we want to advance forward here, and apart from the Su-152 on the enemy team who has not been spotted, I'm not really too worried, because I think all of the other tank types are probably going to be over towards the northern part of the map. And the Tiger II, the King Tiger, while it's definitely not the fastest of tanks, you can still make an assault play here. We're in the first, 3.5 minutes of the game, and we're still managed to be able to pretty much drive a kilometer towards the enemy. It's not like some of your slow heavies, you know, your Type 5 or even in your T-95 tank destroyer, that truly would take a very long time to be able to progress. Alright, so now we've caught both of the enemy's top tier heavy tanks in a great position here. And I think that my coated optics combined with a decent crew skill are going to be able to outspot these tier 9 heavies at a distance. Alright, so the IS, I'm trying to look for a shot there. I'm thinking maybe I can shoot through the wall, but now I realize there is no wall. It's a T-25-2 that he's hiding behind. Alright, so now we're loading premium rounds in this vehicle, and our penetration is jumping up from 203mm to 237. Definitely not the largest step up in penetration for any tank. So don't think that this is like a Tiger II, which has excellent premium penetration, but it's by no means bad, especially when you're getting to engage against these tier 9 heavies in the side. Alright, and as we can clearly see as well from the little bit of spotting that we did against the E75 and the T10 in the bottom left-hand corner, we are spotting for our allies here, so we are going to be reaping all of that juicy, tasty, delicious experience. Because if you're spotting for yourself, you're getting 100%. And if people are spotting for your damage, then you're only getting 50% of the experience. Now, combine that with the fact that I'm engaging tanks that are 2 tiers higher than me right now, and we are talking about, you're getting a 20% bonus just for those 2 tiers that they are higher. So this is a whopping amount of damage and experience to be getting for a tier 7 vehicle. And it just feels so consistent in able to get it. Sure, this isn't the best sniper, and if I was in a Tiger, I'd probably be doing just as much, if not more, in this scenario. But having this armor just makes me feel so much more confident to be able to sit here, because if I do get caught, there's still a chance we're going to be able to avoid the punishment. Alright, so that SU manages to sneak outside our view range, and I decide to push forwards a little bit more to hopefully manage to spot the SU. There we go. Unfortunately, I make a bit of a mistake here. I should have pulled back a little bit from behind the 122-44 instead of getting caught out there, and that's a little bit risky. I could have got spotted. Nevertheless, we're spotting the Su-152, and that allows the Su-130 PM to be able to finish him off. And I just bounced a heat round there from the T10, I believe. Unfortunately, the E75 does manage to go through the side of our vehicle as we're trying to get down the slope, but then I realize, oh yeah, those pesky things that can kill us with indirect fire and high explosive rounds. And it doesn't really matter that we have 180 millimeters of frontal armor in parts, right, boys and girls? Yeah, the high explosive artillery are going to be able to shut us down. Alright, so anyway, there you have it. 3,600 damage and 1,400 spotting in the worst possible scenario for the King Tiger. Now, hopefully my team are going to be able to polish off those pesky artillery that shut us down this game. Come on, boys. I want to see them die, just because, of course, they killed me. This is a very satisfying moment in World of Tanks, when you see that the artillery are about to have their inevitable demise, especially when they were the ones who finished you off. But let's take a look at the post-game stats to see just what kind of an impact this vehicle was able to have. It just feels weird because it doesn't look like I really did that much in the King Tiger in this game. But consider that this is a tier 7 tank engaging tier 8 and tier 9 opponents, which makes it unsurprising that we get an ace tanker here for 1,436 base experience. That is a big game for any Tiger, let me tell you. And combine this with a high caliber in the worst possible matchmaking, and the fact that this is a full premium tank, so we receive 70,000 credits. After we resupply the ammunition and we repair the vehicle, we would have made a decent profit with or without a premium account. And it becomes very obvious to us that if you take a tier 8 vehicle, you drop it down to tier 7, you give it a slightly worse gun, but by no means a terrible gun, make it a premium tank and give it a cool paint job, that, yeah, this vehicle is a lot of fun to play. Now, the way that Wargaming are letting you get your hands on this vehicle is either going to be fantastic news or it's going to be very frustrating news for some of you. And that is that this vehicle, at least for now, is going to be an exclusive in Wargaming and Twitch Prime's collaboration for their Echo package. And so, if like me, you've already got yourself a Twitch Prime account and you've been receiving all of Wargaming's monthly goodies, then there's nothing else that you have to do. The captured King Tiger is going to arrive in your garage, and that's not all. You're also going to be getting yourself an exclusive commander called Hank the Tank Morgan. He's going to come with 6 cents as a 0 skill perk, so that doesn't actually count, so he's going to be able to skill up faster. And he's also going to have Jack of all trades and repairs, but if you're so inclined and you want to reset that, then I guess you could take Brothers in Arms and still have enough to have most of the repair skill maxed out. So that's a quality commander right there. In addition, you'll get 100,000 credits worth of consumables, 10 missions for 5 times experience, which will allow you to accelerate up one of the tech trees if you're so inclined, and also a service medal. No one really cares about that, but I do care about a day of premium instead. And finally, there's a whole series of missions that you can do all the way throughout June, and it looks like it's going to finish on the 1st of July. And that is that if you play your captured King Tiger and you destroy 15 vehicles, you're going to get yourself 10,000 experience. And then if you destroy 20 enemy vehicles, another 20,000 experience, and then 30,000 experience. For the 4th reward, you can get 2,500 experience twice per day. And then the final reward is that you're going to get 30 lots of 5 times crew experience missions, and it doesn't look like you have to play the King Tiger for this, and so you could use it in one of your other premium tanks and just boost your crew, and that is going to be a huge amount of acceleration. 30 battles will be the equivalent of playing 150 battles, and if you combine that with an experience booster, that should be enough to be able to get Brothers in Arms or 6 cents on a commander probably in a few hours. So if all of this sounds a little bit too good to be true, yeah, this is where things are going to get a little bit controversial. And that is that apparently the captured King Tiger is a subscription-based tank. And so that means that if you claim it in Care Package Echo, but then you cancel your Twitch Prime subscription, then the vehicle will become unavailable for battle. And so I guess that kind of screws all the people who were planning on starting free 30-day trials of Twitch Prime to be able to get this vehicle and hoping that you're going to be able to keep it forever, right? Although, thinking about it, I don't really feel that this collaboration between Wargaming and Twitch can last forever. And so if you absolutely, utterly can't really be bothered about all of this, but you want to get the King Tiger, maybe wait till next year and you could probably get your hands on it. And while I clarified with Wargaming that indeed the King Tiger is kind of a subscription-based tank, the commander, Hank the Tank Morgan, will not be taken away from you if you decide to cancel Twitch Prime. So for any of you out there who have up until this point had no interest in any of Wargaming's Twitch Prime loot, but on hearing that you can get yourself a King Tiger, now absolutely have to have it, I've already got a guide that I'm going to link in the description below and also in a pinned comment showing you exactly what it's all about and a step-by-step instruction as to how you can link all of your accounts together and to be able to get your hands on the King Tiger today. And so I hope that helps some of you out. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up, but if you absolutely hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments what you think about the King Tiger, and more importantly, about how Wargaming have decided to deliver it as kind of a Twitch Prime loot. Do you wish they just put it in the premium shop so everybody could purchase it normally? Or would you rather get it for a hell of a lot cheaper, or even for free if you've already got Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, as a subscription-based thing? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.